The Echo Eater. The city's underground maintenance tunnels had been abandoned for decades. Built during the 1920s as part of a failed subway system, they stretched for miles beneath the city, shrouded in darkness and forgotten by all but the occasional urban explorer. When a construction project above began causing structural collapses, a team of workers was sent to assess the damage. None of them could have imagined the horror that awaited. The group of 6 descended the rusted metal ladder into the tunnels, their flashlights slicing through the oppressive darkness. Water dripped from unseen cracks, forming shallow pools on the uneven floor. The air was thick, damp, and carried a faint metallic tang. "Man, this place stinks," muttered Carl, the youngest of the group, his voice echoing faintly off the rounded concrete walls. "Watch your step," warned Denise, the forewoman. She led the group, clipboard in hand, her flashlight scanning for signs of structural damage. As they ventured deeper, the echoes of their footsteps became more pronounced, bouncing back in sharp, unnatural ways. "These acoustics are weird," said Joel, the team's resident skeptic. "Feels like the walls are too close or something." His words echoed back immediately, but slightly warped. "Feels like the walls are too close or something." The inflection on "close" was wrong, almost curious, as if the echo were trying to understand the word. Denise stopped and turned. "Did you hear that?" "What?" Carl asked. "That echo. It sounded." Her voice echoed back, cutting her off. "That echo. It sounded." The repetition was sharper, louder than her original voice. They all froze, the beam of their flashlights crisscrossing the tunnel. For a long moment, no one spoke, and the only sounds were the dripping water and their own breathing. "It's just the acoustics," Joel said, breaking the silence. "Old tunnels do weird things to sound. Let's keep moving." The echoes were no longer delayed, they anticipated their words, responding almost before they could speak. "Who's there?" Denise shouted, her voice trembling. The answer came immediately, chilling and guttural, "I am here. I am you." It wasn't until Carl screamed that they realized the echoes could do more than mimic. Something lunged from the shadows, pulling him into the darkness before anyone could react. His flashlight clattered to the ground, its beam spinning wildly. The others heard his screams fade into gurgled silence, replaced by a new voice, his voice. Help me, it's eating me." Denise grabbed Joel and Emily, the last 2 members of the team, and started running. The tunnels seemed to stretch endlessly, twisting and looping back on themselves. The air grew colder, heavier, as if the darkness were pressing in. "Denise!" Emily cried, tears streaming down her face. "It's in my head. I can hear it." The echoes around her twisted into a cacophony of whispers, overlapping and growing louder. "In your head, in your head. I'm already inside." Emily fell to her knees, clutching her head and screaming. Blood trickled from her nose and ears as her screams dissolved into laughter, horrible, guttural laughter that didn't belong to her. Denise and Joel ran, their lungs burning, but the whispers followed, growing louder, more insistent. They stumbled into a large chamber, its walls slick with a dark, viscous substance that gleamed in the light of their flashlights. In the center of the room was a pit, yawning and black, from which the echoes seemed to emanate. Joel stared at it, his eyes wide with terror. "It's alive," he whispered. Denise grabbed his arm. "We have to destroy it." Before he could respond, Joel's face twisted in agony. He opened his mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, his voice echoed from the pit, distorted and monstrous, "Destroy it, destroy yourself." His body crumpled to the ground, lifeless, as a shadowy figure rose from the pit. It was shapeless at first, but as it moved closer, it began to take on a horrifying form, a twisted amalgamation of the team's faces, voices overlapping in a sickening symphony. Denise backed away, her flashlight flickering. "What are you?" she whispered. The creature smiled with a mouth full of jagged teeth. I am hunger. I am every word you've spoken, every thought you've tried to hide. It lunged toward her, and she screamed. When Denise opened her eyes, she was standing at the entrance to the tunnels, alone. Her flashlight was gone, but she didn't need it. The corridor was bathed in an eerie, pulsating light. Denise? She turned to see Carl, Joel, and Emily standing behind her, unharmed, their faces calm and smiling. You made it, Carl said. But their voices echoed unnaturally, too loud and too close. Denise's blood ran cold. You're not real, she whispered. Carl's smile widened, his teeth impossibly sharp. Neither are you. Denise opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, her scream echoed from deep within the tunnels, fading into the distance as the light around her flickered and went out.